Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca and thank you for joining me tonight for this Own Your Power Vinyasa flow. I themed this class Own Your Power because we will be practicing some powerful strength moves. But it's also called Own Your Power because you have the right to choose. If anything that I invite you to do doesn't feel right, do something else. If I say to move fast and you'd like to move slower, slow it down. The joy of a home practice is no one is there to see but you. I'll be using a chair tonight to support Warrior 3, as well as a strap for seated pose. If you'd like to also use a chair, please make sure that all 4 feet of the chair are supported on a yoga mat or a sturdy rug so that it doesn't slip while you practice. And now, take a moment, gather what you need, and I'll see you on the mat. So you can come to the child's pose of your choice, either with your knees wide apart or with your knees close together. And just allow yourself to settle in here. Maybe take a deep breath and sigh it out through the mouth. Maybe you've had a long day today, or you're feeling a little tired, or just looking forward to an opportunity to settle into your own body. Just begin to take some slow, even breaths. And here in your child's pose, you might explore how the breath feels as you fill your belly. You can feel your belly expand, but you can also feel your lower back move slightly. And you can feel your rib cage as it expands side to side as well. So just take a few moments to notice those sensations. And then take a nice long deep breath here. Maybe the deepest breath you've taken all day. Really fill up your lungs and feel your belly expanding side to side, forward and back. And then take a nice slow exhale. We're going to begin to move with the breath. So we'll start by allowing our inhale to carry us up, keeping the knees wide here if you've chosen this wide-legged child's pose. And from here, we're going to inhale, and as we exhale, we'll shift the hips back towards the right lower corner of the mat. Coming through center, then shifting the hips towards the left lower edge and inhaling back up to all fours. Continuing this motion, exhaling, sending the hips back towards that back corner. Inhaling, moving the hips to the other side. And continuing this motion, another couple of breaths on your own. Finding that inhale and exhale, really stretching into the side body. And then on your next exhale, send the hips back in the opposite direction, changing directions here.
One more here. And then allow your next inhale to carry you back to all fours. And we're going to roll the toes under in the back, taking a nice big inhale here, and then exhaling, shifting the hips up, coming into downward facing dog. You might keep your knees nice and bent here. Maybe pedal slowly from side to side. Our flow tonight will build strength in the body. But if at any time you feel like you'd like to take a rest, or that what I'm inviting just doesn't work for you, you can always come back to a downward facing dog or a child's pose, or even just come and sit in Sukhasana and focus on your breath. You have the power to choose. And so now bringing the heels to stillness. I'm going to inhale up to the toes. And as we're exhaling, drop the knees to the mat. Inhale, allow the belly to drop, coming into our cow pose. Exhale, rounding the tailbone under, coming into cat. Inhale, coming back to cow. And then exhaling, tucking the chin and sending the hips back up, downward facing dog. Really pressing away from the mat here. Inhaling up to the toes, rolling that tailbone up towards the ceiling. Exhale, come down to all fours. Inhale, drop the belly to cow pose. Exhale into cat. Inhale back to cow. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale up to the toes. Exhale, all fours. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, back to cow. And exhale, downward facing dog. Take another breath here in your down dog. Maybe imagining your weight moving back towards your heels here. The eyes of the elbows shining forward. And then bending both knees, shift the gaze in between the hands, walking the feet up to the top of the mat and coming into forward fold. Now you can keep the fingertips on the mat here, which you might like to do if you have any lower back issues, or if you like, you can grasp the elbows, allowing the crown of the head to release down towards the floor and coming into a ragdoll. And remember, no need to force the knees to be straight here. If the knees are a little bent, or even if they're quite bent, that's okay. And then we'll drop the fingertips back down to the mat, bending the knees generously here, and then inhaling up to stand with a flat back. Hands come to meet overhead, and we'll exhale the hands down to heart center. Coming through a couple of sun salutations now as we continue to warm up. We'll inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale as we come down to forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale back into the fold, planting both hands now and stepping the feet back into a plank or a half plank. Inhaling here and then exhaling as we pull the elbows into the sides, lowering down to the belly. Tops of the feet come to the mat, elbows still pulling in. Inhaling up, baby cobra. Exhale to release, rolling the toes under, inhaling up, into plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhaling to bend the knees, looking towards the hands and walking the feet up to the hands. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, release, forward fold. And inhale all the way up to stand. Hands come to heart center. Allowing the fingertips to come down to sweep back up, inhaling up overhead, this time allowing the gaze to follow the hands if that's okay for your neck. Exhale, hands come down through heart center all the way into forward fold. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale into the fold. Stepping back into plank. And exhaling, pulling those elbows into the sides, maybe hovering slightly at the bottom, and then releasing all the way to the mat. Tops of the feet come to the mat, pressing actively, and then inhaling up, baby cobra. Exhale to release, rolling the toes under, inhaling up to plank, and exhaling, downward facing dog. Shifting the gaze forward, we'll walk or hop back to the top of the mat, inhaling up halfway. Exhale to release, and inhale all the way back up to stand. Taking a nice deep breath here, and then setting up for sun salutation B. We'll go through one round of sun salutation B. So inhaling the arms up overhead. We'll exhale as we come into chair pose. And remember, you can always extend the arms out forward here in your chair pose, or even just keep them on your hips. Exhaling, hands come down through heart center, coming all the way into forward fold. Hello, kitty cat. Inhaling up halfway. I'll exhale and release, planting the hands, stepping back into plank or half plank. And your choice here, you can come through your vinyasa, maybe inhaling up to upward facing dog, or if you prefer, you can just go directly to downward facing dog. Gonna inhale up through the left heel, exhaling to bring the left knee forward, turning that right foot out at a little bit of an angle here, and then inhaling up to warrior one. Exhaling, we'll let those hands rain down to frame that left foot, planting the hands, stepping back to plank or half plank, in your choice, coming through vinyasa or coming directly to downward facing dog. Now inhaling up through the right heel, exhaling, right leg comes forward. We'll swivel that left heel down to the mat. And inhale, up to warrior one. Really pressing out actively through the feet, reaching those fingertips up overhead. Exhale, raining the fingers down, framing that right foot, stepping back, plank or half plank, and coming through your vinyasa, if you like. Shifting the gaze forward, we'll bend the knees and step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, surrender into the forward fold. And inhale up to stand. Taking 3 nice, deep, slow breaths here at the top. Reflecting on our practice, reflecting on what brings us here. And then we'll inhale the arms up overhead once again. Exhale, coming down into forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale to release. And this time we're going to take a nice big step back with the right leg, coming into a lunge on the left side. Shifting the gaze forward, And bringing a little lightness into the hands now, we'll press firmly into both feet, inhaling to come up into a high lunge. Remember, your high lunge can always include having your hands in prayer position or even on your waist. So just choose where you'd like to have your hands. Inhaling here to reach up tall. We'll exhale as we lower forward, bringing the body parallel with the mat, stretching the hands back. And then from here, we're going to take the right arm and windmill it up, coming into a warrior two. So find your way here into warrior two, parallel to the front of your mat, gazing gently over that front hand. And then we'll inhale here to straighten the front leg and gather up all the air we can with this left hand as we exhale down into triangle. Coming into triangle pose here and imagining that these lower ribs are rotating up towards the sky or the ceiling. You might even take your hand down and just smear those those ribs up towards the sky. One more nice deep breath here. And then we'll inhale, coming back up into warrior two. So bending into that front knee. Good. Dropping the back hand, inhaling up through the front arm, keeping that front knee bent right over the ankle, coming into reverse warrior. And then windmilling the arms around, coming back down to frame that left foot, stepping the left foot back to meet the right, and coming through your vinyasa or coming directly into downward facing dog. And now from our downward facing dog, I'm going to inhale the right leg up, exhaling to bring that right knee through center, coming into a lunge now with the right leg forward. Pressing into both feet, bringing that lightness into the hands. We'll inhale the arms up. I might fall over. Oh, goodness. So inhaling up into our lunge here. And then as we're exhaling, we'll swivel around on that back foot, coming into warrior two. Checking in with your alignment here. Bringing that right knee right over the ankle. And then we'll inhale to straighten that front leg and exhale as we gather up all the air in front of us, coming into triangle pose. Once again, imagining those lower ribs rotating up towards the sky or the ceiling. And then inhaling back to warrior two, bending into that front knee, taking the gaze gently over those front fingertips, dropping the back hand and scooping that front hand up, coming into reverse warrior. Bringing your focus back to the breath. And then windmilling those arms around, coming back to frame that right foot, planting both hands, stepping the foot back and coming through your vinyasa or right to downward dog. And then meeting here for a couple of breaths in downward dog. And then taking the gaze forward, bending the knees, walking the hands up towards the feet, or perhaps hopping if you like. Inhaling up halfway, exhale to release into the fold. And inhaling, arms come up overhead, hands come to heart center. Taking a moment here again to rest and reflect, maybe to press your thumbs into your sternum and notice that your heart is beating. And taking any time you need to make any adjustments. We'll come into our next flow. Inhaling the arms up overhead, really reaching up and out of the pelvis. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale to release. Stepping back again with the right leg. Exhale, shifting the gaze forward. Bringing lightness into the hands. Inhaling the arms up. Coming into high lunge. Exhale, lowering the front of the body over that left leg, shifting into airplane pose, arms reaching back. And then if you like here, you can really press into that left foot, hopping forward a little on the right foot and coming into our warrior 3 variation, or maybe reaching the hands out to that chair, dropping into a supported warrior 3 with the chair. Rotating the inner right thigh up towards the ceiling, dropping that right hip. Feeling the stretch in the back of the supporting leg. And then if you like, from here, you can exhale, bringing the fingertips down towards the floor, coming into a standing L pose. One more breath. And then as you exhale, bringing that right leg down next to the left, coming into forward fold. We'll inhale from here up into chair pose. Holding our chair pose for a moment, bringing that belly button in towards the spine, pulling in through the pelvic floor muscle. And then exhale, hands come to heart center, coming all the way down to the mat, forward fold. We'll heel toe the feet out to the wide edge of the mat. And here you can just drop into a wide-legged forward fold. Or if you like, you can come into hand to foot pose. So bringing the palm underneath the foot here, allowing the toes to be in the crease of the wrist, or perhaps just bringing the fingers underneath the toes and allowing yourself to hang here, pulling the elbows out to the side. This pose also called gorilla pose. Feeling the stretch through the hamstrings. Keeping that micro bend in the knees. And then releasing the hands from underneath the feet. We'll heel toe the feet back to the center of the mat. And from here, inhale, back up to stand. Exhaling, hands come to heart center. Hands coming all the way down now, inhaling the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale to release. Stepping the left leg back now. Exhaling into our right lunge. Bringing in that lightness. Inhaling the fingers all the way up. Coming into high lunge on this side. Inhale to grow tall. Exhale to shift the body down towards the mat, bringing the chest parallel to the mat, reaching the fingertips out behind. And then if you like, bringing that weight into the right foot, lifting the left, keeping those hands reaching back, or maybe reaching them forward. Coming into a supported warrior 3 inside of the left thigh now. Rotating up towards the ceiling, shifting that left hip down towards the mat. Find your focal point and breathe. And then perhaps you bring the fingers down to the mat, coming into our standing split or standing L pose. And then dropping that left leg down next to the right. We'll exhale into our forward fold. Inhale up to chair pose. Remembering to choose where you like to keep your hands. Your biceps do not have to be next to your ears, although they can be. Inhaling here, reaching out through the fingertips. Exhale, hands come down through heart center as we tilt back over into forward fold. And once again, we'll heel toe those feet out to the edges of the mat. Toes might spill over the edge of the mat here. And heels might come up off the floor as we exhale into Malasana or yogi squat. Seeing if you can find the inside of your knees with your elbows. Maybe pressing the elbow into the knee and the knee into the elbow. And a few choices here. You can stay here in your squat, or if you like, you can sit back into Sukhasana. Or if you have crow pose as part of your practice and you'd like to play with that a little now, you can just bring the hands out in front, nice wide fingers. And we're gonna bend the elbows like a little table and bring the knees to the backs of the arms. And the first step here is just to roll gently onto the hands, getting the arms used to supporting a little of the weight. And then if you have crow pose in your practice, you can perhaps lift one foot or both, up to you. It's just play. And then when you're ready, come back into your yogi squat. And then we'll use one hand in front, the other hand behind as we come back into Dandasana briefly at the back of the mat. So sitting up nice and tall here, maybe pulling any flesh you like out from underneath the sits bones. And then we're going to gently use the hands to pull the feet into butterfly pose. So soles of the feet coming together here. You can interlace the fingers underneath the toes, or maybe use those peace fingers on the toes. Up to you. Just taking a moment here to reflect, feel what this practice feels like in your body today. And if you like, you can lower gently over the feet, coming into a butterfly forward fold, or just stay seated up tall. And then we'll inhale to sit up nice and straight. We're going to keep the left leg bent as we extend the right leg out long, bringing that left foot to the inside of the right thigh. And here, if you have your strap and you'd like to use it, you can bring that strap around the right ball of the foot, holding one side of the strap in each hand, pulling the toes back towards the face, turning the belly button towards the right knee slightly, and then imagining that you're lifting up and out of the pelvis as you exhale over the leg, with the goal of laying the belly down on the top of the thigh. Trying to keep a nice straight back here, pulling those shoulder blades towards each other. Couple of deep breaths. And then we'll inhale to roll up from this pose, bringing that right leg back in, right sole of the foot meets the left. Coming into butterfly for just a moment, and then extending that left leg out long. Right sole of the foot comes to the inside of the left leg now. And we'll take the strap around the left ball of the foot. Once again, lifting up and out of the pelvis, exhaling forward, laying that belly down on top of the thigh. And remembering that it's okay to soften that knee. There's no need here to force the knee to be straight. Allow it to be soft. And then allow your next inhale to carry you up from this pose. We'll shift that strap out of the way, extending the right leg out next to the left, and then coming down onto the back. You can pull the knees into the chest here. And then we'll allow the soles of the feet to come down to the mat, walking the feet out to the wide edges of the mat. And here you can just begin to gently windshield wiper the legs from side to side. Maybe you open the arms out wide. And then the next time you go to one side, just allow the legs to drop fully over to that side, whichever side, taking the gaze over the opposite shoulder. Coming into this nice gentle twist. And then we'll inhale the knees back up. And again, just try that windshield wiper movement until the pelvis feels like it's ready to drop over to the other side. And then just drop those knees over to the other side, taking the gaze over the opposite shoulder. Inhaling the knees back to center, coming through that little windshield wiper. And then slowly pulling first one knee and then the other into the chest, and coming into whatever last movement feels good for you here. Perhaps you like to reach through the legs and grasp the toes for happy baby, or maybe you like to pull the nose up towards the knees for a hedgehog pose, or maybe there's something else that appeals to you. So just taking this invitation from your body to do whatever last motion feels good for you. And then when you're ready, we'll bring the knees back into the chest, hugging them in one last time. And then let everything go, extending the feet out to the lower corners of the mat, snuggling the shoulders up underneath the back, and just allowing yourself to rest here and to notice any differences in how your body feels and how your heart feels and how your mind feels since you began your practice today. Resting here in the power of your own awareness. And if you have some extra time that you can spend here, I encourage you to stay here in your Shavasana as long as you like. If you need to go ahead and end your practice, inhale your arms up overhead, stretching out like it's your first stretch of the day. And maybe roll to one side, cradling your head on your arm and allowing yourself to rest there for a moment before you press yourself back up to a seated position. Thank you for joining me for this brief practice today, and may your yoga follow you off the mat.